2 minutes ago, the truth finally came out. And it's far darker than anyone imagined. A pastor once trusted, respected, and followed by thousands has just dropped a confession that's sending shockwaves across the internet. And what he revealed from that Sunday morning service has left fans, believers, and even skeptics shaking in absolute fear. Because this wasn't just a normal sermon, wasn't just a regular outburst. This was a possession. A moment where the entire church froze, and something not of this world took over. The screams, the lights flickering, the uncontrollable shaking. And then silence, followed by a whisper no mic should have picked up. But here's the twist. The pastor claims it wasn't the first time, and worse, it won't be the last. What really happened inside that church? Why are people calling it a spiritual ambush? And is Christian rock at the center of something far more terrifying than just celebrity drama? Stay with us. Because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you believe in. The church was supposed to be a place of healing, but that Sunday, it turned into something out of a nightmare. Let's rewind because this wasn't just any church service. This was Christian rock's public return to faith. A dramatic, highly publicized appearance in a packed sanctuary with flashing lights, cameras, influencers, and a congregation that could barely breathe with anticipation. She walked in, head high, wearing a flowing white robe, child in arms, security in the aisles. The music stopped. The room went silent. The crowd, some cheering, some sobbing, rose to their feet. To some, it looked like a spiritual rebirth. To others, it looked like something else entirely, because even before the sermon started, strange things were happening. Witnesses said the temperature dropped, lights flickered, then dimmed. One camera crew's audio equipment completely shut down despite having full battery. And then came the smell: sulfur. Rotten, sharp, impossible to ignore. Churchgoers reported a sudden wave of nausea washing through the pews. But Christian didn't flinch. She stood tall, smiling, clapping, even raising her hands in praise, until the pastor stepped up. And everything changed. The pastor's history, dark warnings ignored. The pastor, whose name is being withheld for his safety, has been leading the church for 22 years. Respected, trusted, known for his fiery sermons and powerful spiritual discernment. But behind closed doors, those close to him knew he had a gift, or a curse, depending who you ask. UC. This wasn't the first time he sensed something unnatural. Over the years, he'd warned the church board about energy shifts during celebrity visits. He claimed he could feel things in the spirit realm, things that weren't human. Once, in 2017, he even halted a service mid-sermon, declaring that something foreign had entered the room. Most called it paranoia. Others called it prophecy. But last Sunday, he didn't just feel it. He said it looked him dead in the eyes. When Christian approached the altar, according to multiple eyewitnesses, everything turned when Christian stepped toward the altar. She was supposed to give a short testimony, nothing more. But the moment she grabbed the mic, the room shifted. Lights surged. Audio cracked. A baby in the back pew started screaming uncontrollably. And then Christian began speaking in tongues. At first it sounded like spiritual expression until the language changed. Guttural, low, unrecognizable. The pastor froze. He reportedly dropped his Bible. Then, without warning, he stepped back and said 3 chilling words, caught faintly on the live stream. "This isn't her." Gasps, screams, someone fainted. Security rushed forward but stopped halfway, looking terrified. And Christian, she just smiled. Social media reaction was instant, and a RAF sprees from the live stream were captured, reposted, slowed down, and analyzed frame by frame within minutes. Some claimed to see her eyes shift color. Others swore her voice dropped to octaves mid-sentence. One user tweeted, "I don't know what I just watched, but that wasn't a church service. That was a possession." Another posted side-by-side clips of Christian's speech patterns before and during the moment. And the difference is chilling. Reddit exploded with threads titled things like, "Did Christian invite something into that church? A pastor backs. AWAY, what did he see? This wasn't a testimony. This was an entrance." And just as the story began spiraling, the pastor vanished. That's right, he left the church, disappeared from social media, Fayette, and refused all contact for 48 hours. But why? Because what? He finally confessed. Hey, will leave you breathless. 40-8 hours after the no infamous church service, the pastor reemerged. But not at the pulpit, not in front of his congregation, not on live stream. No, he showed up on a private podcast no one had ever heard of before, one with only a few dozen followers. A channel titled Eyes to See, Hidden Truths of the Spirit. World, and in a 57-minute audio interview, one that was ripped, reposted, and now has over 20 million views. The pastor delivered a confession so dark, so disturbing. It sent shockwaves across the internet. The pastor speaks. Something followed her. The voice is shaky. The words are deliberate, but there's no mistaking the truth in his tone. It wasn't her. I know that child. I've baptized people in chaos. I've seen deliverances in fire. But this was ancient. It looked through me. The host, clearly unsettled, presses him for detail. What did he feel? What did he see? The pastor hesitates, then says, when she grabbed the mic, I didn't see her. I saw something standing behind her, clinging to her. And when she spoke, it didn't come from her lungs. It came from the floorboards. Viewers froze. Because what he said next made things worse. I had a dream the night before. A black shadow entered the sanctuary and perched on the altar like it had been there for years, watching, waiting. And when Christian walked in, it entered her. Suddenly, people started revisiting that live stream footage, slowing it down, enhancing the audio, and then boom, a leaked clip surfaced. One the church never intended to release. The leaked audio, what wasn't supposed to be. For an anonymous sound engineer calling himself Spirit Mike 24 posted a 14-second audio file titled What We Heard in Her Mic Feed Unfiltered. At first, it's just static, background noise. Then, faintly, beneath Christian's voice, a second voice, deeper, not hers, not human, whispering, repeating one phrase over and over again. You invited me. You invited me. You invited me. People lost it. TikTok exploded. Paranormal investigators began reacting live. One popular spiritual influencer said through tears, this wasn't just spiritual warfare. This was a summoning gone wrong. Another, let her do what she wants as long as the cameras roll. Another replied, if she wants to bring her energy, let her. Controversy brings numbers, and the worst one. The church needs attention, even if it's from the devil himself. What? Betrayal was instant. Church members flooded out, elders quit. TikTokers started calling it the spiritual sellout. Was the leadership complicit in letting Christian and whatever followed her enter that sanctuary? Was this a desperate stunt for fame? For clout? For viral traction? Or was it something much darker? Because here's where it gets bone-chilling. The symbol on her ROB after the chaos. One fan posted a high-res freeze frame of Christian's entrance, zooming in. They found something no one had noticed before, on her robe. Barely visible, stitched in gold thread. A strange circular symbol. Not a cross. Not scripture. But an ancient sigil associated with binding rituals. Experts weighed in. A former occult researcher claimed, that's a known symbol. It's used to anchor spirits during invocation. If she wore that knowingly, this wasn't a coincidence. This was a ceremony. Christian responds. Or does she? The internet begged for answers. People spammed her social media. Her Instagram comments turned into a war zone. And then she posted a cryptic IG story, a black screen, no caption. Just an audio loop of someone whispering he saw too much. Fans were terrified. Was she referring to the pastor? Was this a threat? A warning? A confession? Or was someone using her account? Theories spiraled. Is she still possessed? Is someone controlling her? Was the pastor marked for death? But just as people tried to process the horror, another unthinkable twist emerged. The pastor's final TXT one of his family members. Speaking anonymously to the Shade Gospel blog revealed that just before the podcast went live, the pastor texted a single sentence to his wife. "If I disappear, it's not me walking away." Since then, he's vanished. No phone activity, no sightings, his home. Empty, lights off, alarm system disabled. Is he hiding or was he taken? 'Cause if he was telling the truth, if what he saw in Christian's eyes wasn't her, then the church hasn't just been visited. It's been claimed. Get ready. Because in the next section, it gets worse. More footage leaks. Another pastor speaks out. A celebrity guest at the church reveals they saw the shadow too. The pastor had vanished. The sanctuary stood empty. And Christian rocks cryptic. He saw too much. Post echoed like a whisper across the internet. But just when it seemed the firestorm was dying down, another fire ignited. A new clip surfaced. Not from inside the church, but from a hidden backstage hallway recorded on a phone and leaked by a choir member. And what's in the video? Footage of Christian collapsing moments after leaving the altar. The video they tried to bury in the 34-second clip. Christian is seen stumbling through a hallway. Her robe is half draped. She's sweating. Whispers surround her to faint to make out. And then it happens. She stops. Turns to the wall, begins speaking to it. "I know what you want, but you said the child would be safe." Chills. Then her voice changes again, deeper, heavier. Echoing, she drops to her knees and says one word, "Obey." Seconds later, the camera cuts out. Viewers were horrified. Was she speaking to the entity? What child was she protecting? Her son. A symbolic sacrifice. And why obey? Was she bound to something? TikTok exploded with reaction videos. "I thought this was attention-seeking. I was wrong. This is spiritual warfare." Bro, she wasn't acting. Look at her EYES in that video. She's not there. And just when that clip dominated the internet, another voice entered the chaos. Celebrity witness comes 4WARD enter. Young Miami, the rapper, socialite, an influencer known for her unfiltered takes. So, happened to be in the front row of that church service. Fans had spotted her in livestream screenshots but assumed she left early. Wrong. She stayed the whole time, and what she saw. She broke her silence on IG Live, and what she said stunned everyone watching. "I ain't into all that Holy Ghost stuff. I came to support my girl." But listen, when Christian got to that mic, something cold passed by me. I'm not playing. I felt it. Like a wall of ice. And she looked through me. Like she ain't recognized me. She paused, visibly shaken. "I don't care what nobody says. That was not Christian on that altar." Her IG Live went viral. Clips spread across Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. #YoungMiamiSees trended for hours. And then she said one more thing. "I ain't sleeping right since." Y'all think this is PR? Nah, this is something else. This spiritual, boom, a line had been drawn. And Young Miami wasn't the only one speaking up. Shadows at the back, or another church, usher an older woman named Sister Danielle left. A Facebook post that was immediately screenshotted and deleted. "I saw a figure walk behind the stage as the pastor preached, thought it was security, but later I asked around. No one was back there." She continued, "It had no reflection. Not in the mirror, by the exit." That's when I knew the devil walked in that day. Hundreds of comments poured in, most saying the same thing. We saw it too. Second, Pastor breaks array and cast the silence from other churches didn't last long. Pastor Jerome Willis from Atlanta, Georgia, who once baptized Christian at a youth convention, came forward with a gut-wrenching warning on Facebook Live. When I prayed over her as a teen, she convulsed. I thought it was trauma. But what if it was the same spirit we just saw at that church? He added, you don't carry something like that your whole life unless it's attached. And now it's not hiding anymore. It's showing off. He closed his live with a chilling warning. If you saw what I saw back then, you'd know. This wasn't the beginning. This was the unveiling. The child in danger? Suddenly, attention shifted to a terrifying possibility. Was Christian's child in danger? Fans went back to her IG story. The voice that whispered, he saw too much. Was it warning someone about the pastor? Or about her son? One spiritual influencer at Discernment Queen posted a viral theory. This isn't about fame. This is about bloodlines. She's hosting something ancient. The child may be part of a generational contract. She said you promised the child would be safe. Who is you? And what deal was made? Theories turned demonic. Speculations ranged from occult vows, spiritual curses, to Christian unknowingly being part of a generational ritual. And then came the final horrifying leak. The missing Pageian anonymous altar server posted a photo of a torn page found near the baptismal font. It wasn't from a Bible. It was handwritten. And it said, the offering is not complete. Return her to the sanctuary before the seventh moon. Cryptic. Terrifying. What does return her mean? What happens on the seventh moon? Is there a deadline? For something worse. And here's where it all twists again. ... Just an hour ago, Christian posted again. This time, a photo. It's a close-up selfie. Her eyes look dead still. Her face is neutral. But in the background, a mirror. And in that mirror, behind her, a blurred shadow. One fans immediately recognized from the viral church footage. Caption, it's not done yet. Done yet. Everything we thought was over. It's just beginning. The line between faith, fear, and fame has shattered. What began as a bizarre church moment has now turned into a global spiritual crisis. With millions choosing sides and millions more asking, is Christian rock possessed? Or just playing everyone? And trust us, the internet has never been this divided. Social media civil war, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube are in total meltdown, and the fandom split straight down the middle. On one side, #ProtectChris, EAN, claiming she's the victim of a spiritual attack, exploited by churches and abandoned by those she trusted. On the other, #she let it in, accusing her of willingly participating in something far darker and using her platform to spread it. A viral TikTok with over 19 million views featured slow-motion footage of Christians speaking in tongues. With the caption, "This is not a woman in worship. This is a woman in bondage." In the comments, chaos erupted. At TruthWatcher47, "Y'all blind if you can't see what's on her. That ain't the Holy Ghost." At Team Tristan Real, "She went to church to heal. They ambushed her spiritually. This is trauma, not a demon." One user dropped an entire thread of frame-by-frame screenshots showing a dark shadow near her during the live stream. Captioned, "You all laughed at her. Now she's the one carrying the curse for all of us." Celebrity responses. Division in HLLYWOWOD, A-list, is now entrenched in a spiritual war unlike anything seen before. Summer Walker went live with a crystal and a candle in front of her, saying, "This is why I don't go to church. Energy? Don't lie." Christian brought something, but the church kept it. Nick Cannon, on the other hand, stunned fans when he said on his podcast, "I've been in deliverance services. Seen the real thing? What happened with her? That was a spirit taking full control." But then came the real shocker. Beyoncé's publicist posted a cryptic tweet that had fans spinning theories for hours. Even angels fall when the pulpit welcomes shadows. Wait, was that about Christian, the church, both? And then, Blueface broke his silence. Blueface responds and fans lose it. He dropped a 12-second video on Instagram that immediately went viral. He's holding their child.com/stoic, looking directly at the camera. Y'all praying for her? I'm praying to keep what's around her away from my son. Boom! Comment sections went nuclear. He knows something. Was this his way of confirming the demonic energy? He just exposed more than he realizes. People began demanding Christian turn over full custody. Others accused Blueface of gaslighting and exploiting the moment. But one thing was certain. The child was no longer just part of the background. He was becoming the center of the spiritual storm. The church collapses from while the very church where this all began is falling apart. 2 deacons have resigned, the senior choir. Director posted, "I warned them," and vanished. From social media, tithing donations have plummeted by 78% in just 4 days. And a group of members staged a walkout during midweek prayer, chanting, "You opened the gate. You let it in." A viral drone video captured dozens praying outside the church, refusing to re-enter. And the most chilling report. Security cam footage from the altar area malfunctioned, but the only frame recovered shows a dark figure standing alone at 3:33 a.m., hours after the church closed. The industry struggles to respond. Gospel networks are divided. Some are calling this a testimony gone wrong. Others are calling for an emergency spiritual summit. Mega preacher. Bishop K.L. Hartwell made headlines when he said, "We are witnessing the rise of modern spiritual warfare disguised as pop culture." Meanwhile, several churches across Houston, Atlanta, and Los Angeles are reporting similar unexplained disturbances, are replaying the live stream for analysis. Let that sink in. Watching the video is allegedly spreading the energy. One priest from New Orleans even issued a warning. Do not rewatch the footage. What's attached to it is active. Fans go to war. IRL protests have broken out at the church. Christian supporters are holding signs like, "Her pain isn't possession. Church equals exploitation. Let her be free." Meanwhile, others are holding Bibles, chanting exorcism prayers through megaphones and demanding Christian undergo a full public deliverance. Police have now installed temporary barricades around the church perimeter. And yet, more people are showing up every day, not to protest, not to pray, but to see, because something, whatever it is, was left behind. And now, people want to feel it for themselves. But what no one knows, what even Christian herself may not realize, is that the final chapter hasn't been written, because a new player is about to enter. Someone who's been silent this whole time. Someone with evidence and their story. They'll shatter everything. All week long, the narrative swirled around Christian. Was she a victim? A vessel? A mastermind? Was the church to blame? Or something deeper? But no one was prepared for what dropped. Just 47 minutes ago. An anonymous file. A hard drive. A shadowy Dropbox link titled simply, "The entry file leaked to a small spiritual forum." It contained one video. It's 23 seconds long. And it changes everything. The video that breaks the INTR night tot begins in silence. A wide shot of the church. Sanctuary 6 months ago. No congregation, no service. Just Christian walking alone. Barefoot to the altar. She kneels, lays both hands flat on the pulpit, and whispers, "I welcome you." As promised, they'll all see. Then it cuts .just-darkness. The forum where it was posted crashed within 2 minutes. The video reappeared on Reddit, Twitter, and Telegram almost instantly. People screamed, fans fainted. Pastors panicked, because that clip wasn't just a moment out of context. It was evidence. proof that the event, the possession, the collapse, the fallout may have been orchestrated. Long before the incident, long before the live stream, long before the pastor ever felt the shadow as promised. To whom? What promise? And what was she giving in return? A secret journal. DICOVRID. Then it got darker. A woman claiming to be Christian's childhood Sunday school teacher posted a TikTok from